Hey Exiles, PoE Academy here, bringing you short but high quality PoE tutorials. Lately I was looking for an affordable and strong endgame character and found a self-cast Ice Nova Frostbolt Hieronaut. While this is not a new archetype, I still wanted to try my own approach to this build, and what can I say? The final version deletes any boss the game offers and cuts through any T60 maps. Advantages of this build are that it has insane damage, it profits a lot from the new influence mods, and has a unique and fresh playstyle. The main disadvantages are that ranged chaos damage can be an issue, it requires level 86 to feel good, and it feels weak without a gear baseline. The build is solid for mapping, but nothing compared to a bow or flicker strike character. Obviously it's made for bossing and kills most bosses in the blink of an eye. You have a big effective life pool against most damage sources except for chaos damage, so sometimes you get one shot by chaos damage, unfortunately. This build wants to have some gear, which may be difficult to acquire very early in the league, but I'd say you could start a league with it. Regarding the budget, you can do most content in the game with something like 7x worth of gear, but I wouldn't recommend anything below that. Scaling is very good, as you can take advantage of many of the new influence mods and push the build to a power level even Cyrus is dreaming of. The build uses rather simple mechanics, the most important one being the Ice Nova Frostbolt interaction and Mind over Matter. While Ice Nova and Frostbolt can be used separately, they are much stronger when being combined. We can do so by casting a Frostbolt and then casting Ice Nova on top of the moving Frostbolt. It is important to note that we don't have to click every time we want to cast Ice Nova, but instead just to hold down the key we use to cast Ice Nova. To improve the damage, we use several sources to repeat Ice Nova, such as Spell Echo, Greater Spell Echo, and Intensify. The good thing about this is that we are not locked in place while repeating our Ice Novas. We use Mind over Matter to increase our effective life pool, since 30% of damage taken, except for chaos damage, is taken from our mana. This synergizes very well with the Ascendancy Divine Guidance that increases the damage absorption to a total of 40%. It is important to balance life and mana so that we have 40% of our life as unreserved mana. For example, if we have 4000 life, we want to have 1600 unreserved mana. If we have much less mana than the 40%, we will often run into a situation where all of our mana would be drained up by a hit, often resulting in a death since we can't use our spells anymore. The passage tree of this build is quite efficient and uses very strong wheels. We simply pick up a lot of life and damage nodes in the Templar area. Since we will be using a staff, we take the two very efficient staff crit wheels as well. The Witch starting area provides improvements to life, damage and mana. In the Shadow area, we pick up even more life and damage. For Ascendancies, I'd go for Illuminated Devotion first, then pick up Divine Guidance and Sanctuary of Thought. As the last Ascendancy, I like choosing Arcane Blessing over Conviction of Power because it gives immunity to elemental ailments, which is very nice for mapping. Regarding Pantheons, choose between Soul of Lunaris and Soul of Arukali depending on your gear. If you don't have additional chaos resistance on any gear piece, I'd rather go Arukali but pick Lunaris if you have some. I've picked Soul of Shakari as the minor god because it helps with chaos damage and gives immunity to poison, which is nice for some T60 metamorphs. Regarding Bandits, we help Alira because she grants all the stats we need. The only item I'd consider mandatory for this build is a Pledge of Hands staff. It grants Greater Spell Echo for Ice Nova, which can be used in addition to the regular Spell Echo gem. It also gives a lot of spell damage and scales our mana significantly. There are plenty of good options to gear this character. For example, you can use an Essence Worm ring to be able to use another big aura like Zealotry. Skyforth boots synergize very well with this ring as they provide flat mana, less mana reserved and a way to avoid being stunned often. As if that weren't enough, they are a sustainable source of power charges too. Another item that synergizes very well with this build is the Pandemonious Amulet with the Heart of Ice anointment, but unfortunately it's quite expensive now. Other items to consider are the Crown of the Inward Eye helmet, a Feral's Fur body armor, or a Circle of Fear rings. I leveled this build with only blue flasks, a diamond, a life, a quicksilver, a sulfur, and a mana flask. Looking back, I'd swap the sulfur flask with an Xuri's Promise, and if you have too much money in your bank, consider buying a Bottled Faith flask. With the current setup, you'll need 9 strength and 10 dexterity on any gear piece. The easiest way to solve this is getting a ring with plus 10 to all attributes. As always, you want to cap your resistances. Then, simply go for life and mana. On your helmet, look out for the 40% increased Ice Nova damage, or chills from Ice Nova hits always reduce action speed by at least 8% enchantments, and use Frigid Fossils to craft the nearby enemies have -9% to cold resistances. Regarding the body armor, I recommend influence crafting one with frenzy charges on hit and spell crit. The increased damage with hits against chilled enemies on blows is very useful too. If you want to invest more, get Tailwind and Elusive on your boots. Jewels are surprisingly cheap for this build. Look for crit multi, cast speed, life, and spell damage. On average, I paid 8 Chaos Orbs for each of my jewels. We have 2 Sixlings available in this build. The main damage setup with Ice Nova goes into the staff. Ice Nova is linked to Hypothermia, Spell Echo, Controlled Destruction, Intensify, and lastly Concentrated Effect. The Frostbolt setup is used for utility. That's why Frostbolt is linked to GMP, Curse on Hit, and Frostbite. Depending on your last Ascendancy choice, link Arcane Surge too. If you have a chest with You Can Apply an Additional Curse or an Awakened Curse on Hit gem, use Elemental Weakness or Assassin's Mark as the last link. For auras, we use Hatred, Precision, and Clarity. Zealotry is socketed into the Essence Worm ring if you have one. Flame Dash is used to provide decent mobility. A Lightning Golem and Steel Skin are linked to a Cast When Damage Taken gem to increase our damage and help with chaos damage. And the last 4 link, Frostbomb, is used to increase our damage even further. Stormbrand linked to Culling Strike makes killing bosses even easier, and a Decoy Totem gives us more time to ramp up our damage. This build can be leveled quite easily with a Goldrum helmet, Wanderlust boots, and Lifesprig wands. I used Arc to level until Blood Aqueducts in Act 7 and then swapped to Ice Nova and Frostbolt because Arc is superior for leveling. You can find free leveling trees in the POB in the description. Most importantly, we travel to Elemental Overload first for a good damage boost. Instead of the staff nodes, we pick up generic damage modifiers. All in all, the build does not require a lot of respecking and is rather enjoyable to level with. I'm having a lot of fun with this build, and I will play this dude next league too. You must invest a little something into the build, but once you can do any content, it also returns a lot of money. Thanks for staying with me until the end, and see you in the next one.